In the previous section, we discussed savings plans. When we deposit a certain amount of money in a savings account at a certain interest rate and we collect it, let's say in 5 years, at the end of 5 years, we not only get back the amount that we invested, which is the principal, but we also get an additional amount, which is the interest that is accrued in those 5 years. So, in some sense, the bank or the savings account is borrowing our money and giving us interest for letting them borrow our money for 5 years. This section is about borrowing money and paying interest rather than saving money and uh, making money in the form of interest. So in this video, we will do problems 1 and 2 from the worksheet. So here is some basic terminology that is used in loans. The principal is the amount of money that we owe at any point in time. It could also be the amount that we borrow, and that could be considered the principal. When we pay off a loan, we not only pay off the principal amount, the amount that we borrowed, but we also pay off the interest that is charged on the loan. There are certain types of loans that we pay off as one payment, which includes the principal and the interest. But what we'll discuss in this section is installment loans, where we pay off the loan not as one lump sum payment, but equal regular payments. It could be monthly payments, as in the case of car loans or mortgages. So that is an installment loan when we pay off our loan using regular payments. So this is the formula that we're going to use. PMT stands for the periodic payment that we make, periodic or regular payments that we make to pay off the loan. The letter P stands for the amount borrowed or the amount owed to the bank or to any financial institution. R is the annual percentage rate. So here we're looking at interest rate that is compounded. So R is the APR and N is the number of times the interest is compounded, or which is the same as the number of payment periods in a year. So if you're making monthly payments, so for monthly, it is N is equal to 12. So it's the number of payments that we make in a year, and that is N. It is also the number of times the interest is compounding. So once we know each of these terms, all we do is plug in the numbers into the formula to figure out the monthly payment, if it is a monthly payment, or a regular payment that we need to make in order to pay off the loan. Now, just like before, if we are paying off a loan using monthly payments, N equals 12, that's for monthly. Suppose we want to pay 2 times in a month, then N would be equal to 24. That is and so on. So N is the number of payments that we make in a year. So in problem 1, we have an example of a student loan of $12,000. So that's the amount of money that we borrow or the amount of money that we owe. So that is P, $12,000. The annual percentage rate is 7%, so it's 0.07. The number of years in which we plan to pay off this amount is Y, which is 10 years. Just remember that this is always in years. So the first question is, what is the monthly payment? So the minute we see the word monthly, we know that we're going to pay 12 payments in a year. So this N is the number of payments in a year. So we have the formula. All we have to do is plug in the numbers. Just remember to enter all the numbers into the calculator just once. Don't do the calculations in parts where you're rounding at every stage and your answer will be off slightly. Just enter everything using parentheses into your calculator carefully, hit enter, and then that final answer is rounded to the second decimal place because we want it to the nearest cent. So the payment that we're going to make is $139.33 if you're going to pay off the loan of $12,000 in 10 years. So, and of course, at that percentage rate, which is 7%. Now, the amount that we owe is $12,000. But obviously, we're going to pay more than that because we're going to pay interest on this amount that we borrowed. So let's see how much we paid at the end of 10 years. So in 10 years, we made 12 payments per year of $139.33. So the total amount that we paid is 12 times 10 times the payment, which is $16,719.60. So that is the total amount that we paid for a loan of $12,000. So out of the $16,719.60, only $12,000 has gone towards the actual amount that is borrowed. The rest is the interest that we've paid for getting this loan. Out of the amount that we paid, we're trying to figure out what percent of the amount that we paid goes towards the principal and what percentage is paid towards the interest. So let's first figure out the percentage that goes towards the principal. Most of what we paid goes towards the principal, but a large part of it does go towards interest. So what is the amount that we paid towards the principal? So it's $12,000 over the total amount that we paid, which is $16,719.60. So this gives us the fraction of the total amount that we paid that goes towards the principal. But now we want to convert that to a percent. So that would be times 100%, which gives us, if you use your calculator, 71.77%. So 71.77% of the total amount that we paid goes towards the principal. Now the rest of the amount that we paid must go towards the interest. So we don't have to recalculate. We just have to go subtract the amount that we, or percentage of the amount that we paid towards the principal. So the percent that goes towards interest is equal to 100% minus 71.77%, which is equal to 28.23%. So out of the total amount that we paid, 16,719.60, which really pays off our loan, 77.77% is the principal and 28.23% is the interest. And the next problem, we have a situation. We want to borrow a certain amount of money, $4,000, uh, to pay off credit cards, and you can afford a monthly payment of $150. So that is your limit. That's the amount that you can pay as a monthly payment. That's what you can afford. Now, you have three choices. You have a 2-year loan, a 3-year loan, and a 4-year loan. Now, each type of loan not only has a different loan term, one is 2 years, one is 3 years, and one is 4 years, but it also has a different interest rate. So we need to figure out what loan best meets our needs. So let's look at the first loan. It's a 2-year loan. So the term is 2 years. So y equals 2 years. The principal is the amount of money that we want to borrow, that is 4,000, and it's a monthly payment. And somewhere in the problem, I'm sure you can see that word monthly. So n is equal to 12, and the annual percentage rate for the 2-year loan is 8%. We need to figure out what our monthly payment would be if we took this type of loan. So substituting numbers into the formula, being careful with uh, entering numbers into your calculator, this is the answer that we get, $180.91. So that is our monthly payment for the 2-year loan. Now let's look at the 3-year loan. Since it's a 3-year loan, our loan term is 3 years. So y equals 3 years. The principal is the same. It's $4,000. It's a monthly payment, so n is equal to 12 because we make 12 payments in a year. The annual percentage rate is different from that of the 2-year loan, so it's 9%. Substituting all the numbers into the formula to figure out the monthly payment, we get $127.20 for the monthly payment to pay off this loan. Now, let's look at the third option. So we have the 4-year loan. So that tells us that the loan term is 4 years and y equals 4. The principal is $4,000. It's a monthly payment, so n is equal to 12. The interest rate is different. It's 10%. Plugging all the numbers into the formula to figure out the monthly payment, we get $101.45. So now, since we can only afford $150 per month, the first option, if you remember, is $180.91 as a monthly payment. So that we cannot afford. That's not an option. Now look at the other two. $127.20, that's affordable. It's below our budget, which is $150 a month. And the other monthly payment is $101.45, which is again well below our $150 per month. So either the 3-year loan or the 4-year loan would work for us and keep us within the $150 that we can afford per month.